Okay, this is Unit 8, Lesson 2. I can multiply polynomials by using the method FOIL. Alright, um, don't worry about that homework, and let's get to the do now. Alright, so just like the quiz that you took and last lesson from lesson 1, remember this is a subtraction problem, and you're going to just take it out of parentheses, and I'm just writing down the 3x plus 5x, and then I'm going to distribute this minus. Go ahead and do numbers 1 and 2. You could press pause now. Okay, the first one is negative 7x squared plus 2x plus 3. All right, distributing that negative makes this a negative 7x squared, and distributing that negative makes this a negative 3x. And then when you combine the like terms, that's what you get for the answer. For number 2, I didn't take it out of parentheses. I just kind of looked for the highest exponent, which is the largest exponent, which is the x squared. That goes first. There's no other x squareds, so kind of cross that out right there. Then I go to the x, the 2x, and the negative 10x. That's negative 7x, and I could cross all of that out right there. And then you have negative 5 plus 1, which is negative 4. Okay, test prep. Which expression represents the sum of an odd integer n and the next three odd integers? Go ahead and try to do this one and press pause now. So this is a good question. Remember, just make your key. And when it says the sum of an odd integer, n could be any odd integer. The next odd integer, so say if like the first odd integer is 3, the next odd integer would have to be 5. All right, so it would always be plus 2 as the next. And they want the next 3. So I'm just going to put a 1 there to remind myself. And then n plus 4 would be the next odd. And that would be the second. And then n plus 6 would be the next odd. And that is the third. So they want all of this, the sum of all of those numbers. So the sum of an odd integer, so here's the odd integer, and then the next three odd integers, n plus 2 plus n plus 4 plus n plus 6. And you can see how this lends itself to the topic in the first lesson. You have now combined the like terms. So you have n, 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 and n. So 1, 2, 3, 4, n. Then you have 2, 4, and 6, which is 12. Okay, so D is your answer. And that's how you do that problem. So the next couple of problems here, there's a lot of, there's actually 6 problems. Well, I'll just go through a couple with you, and then you could go ahead and do this on your own. Remember, when you multiply, this is the laws. Remember, just going back to the laws of exponents. When you multiply, you have to add exponents. You have to add them. So add exponents. And you multiply it. And this is going to be all addition of exponents because you're multiplying. Right? So, very easy distributive property. 2, and I just kind of take this like separately in my head. This is 2 times 3, 2x times 3x squared, right? But 2 times 3 is 6. Take it one step at a time. And then x to the x times x squared is x to the third. Because remember, this is a 1. And then it's 2x times negative x. And by the way, this is a negative 1, right? 2 times negative 1, negative 2. X times x is x squared. Because remember, this is a 1, 2. A 1, not 2, 1. All right. So you have 1 plus 1, that's the 2. That's where you get the 2 from. Again, distributive property. So you have 4 times 2y to the third. In my head, I'm doing 4 times 2 first, so I get that 8. I just bring the y to the third down. Four times 5x. Well, I'm doing 4 times 5 in my head first, so it's 4 times 5, which is 20x. And then finally, 4 times negative 1, and is negative 4. And that is your answer. 8y to the third plus 20x minus 4. That one was a little bit easier because it didn't have an x to distribute. Let's just do this last one. I know I'm going across this way, but it's just the way I'm doing it. And we'll distribute. All right, again, ask yourself, what are you doing first here? Let's take the first thing, 4 times 9. That's 36. X to the third times x to the fifth. 3 plus 5. Adding exponents because you're multiplying. It's 8. Distributing here. 4 times 2. 8. X to the third times x to the second is x to the fifth. Oops. And then finally, another distribution. All right, 4x to the third times 6. In my head, I'm doing 4 times 6 first. That's 24. And then there is no x attached to this 6, so you're just going to bring that x to the third over. Go ahead, do the next 3 that are on the page, and press pause now. Okay, I just wanted to see if you could, I wanted to give you the answers for numbers 4. Negative x times 2 is negative 2x. Negative x times positive 3x squared. Negative 3x to the third. Remember, this has 1 as an exponent. Negative 10 times negative 10g is 100g. That's positive negative times negative. And then negative times another negative, just the numbers here, is positive 20. Right, go ahead, press pause again, do number 6. Press pause now. Okay, we have 36x to the fourth. So 4x to the third is the same question, by the way. So we have 36x to the eighth plus 8x to the fifth plus 24x to the third. All right, so same as above. I didn't realize that. Two sixes. Sorry. All right, multiplication. Remember, multiplying binomials. I'm sorry, multiplying when you're doing anything with the exponents, you are adding exponents, and that's basically it. Okay, so there's something called FOIL, and the FOIL is an acronym when you are multiplying binomials that you use. All right, so first you multiply the firsts, and the first here, when you're multiplying, first term is x times x. So I usually go like this, x times x. Then outers, then it's x times 5. But this is just distributive property. I don't even really use FOIL, and I don't teach it this way. But this is the way it's been taught kind of like forever. But if you take x times x and x times 5, that's distributive property. You're distributing this x first. Then you move over to the -2, and these are known as the inners. And I go -2 times x. And then remember, you have to distribute this -2 to the 5, and that's the lasts. So the result is x times x, which is the first, that's the x squared. Put it right here. The outers, x times 5 is 5x, so you put it right here. And then -2, you move over to the -2, distribute the -2 to the x, it's -2x, and -2 to the 5, and that is -10, and you put it right there. And then you just combine the like terms, which will always be in the middle if you do it this way. You have 5x minus 2x, and that is 3x. And then you get x squared, simplified, x squared plus 3x minus 10. All right. So there's two other methods that you do. It's just distributive property. All right. So just get this like straight, because this is the way I do it. This is kind of like my method. So you have x times x, right? So that's the first thing I do, and that's the x squared. Then I do x times 5, because I have to distribute this x. Think about this x is being distributed to this x. This x has to be now distributed to the 5, and you have 5x. This -2 is being distributed to the x, -2x, -2 times x. And then this -2 is being distributed to the 5, -2 times 5, -10. When you combine like terms, the like terms will be directly in the middle, and you have x squared plus 3x minus 10. Just like this is the same problem that we just did up top. And that's it. That it's distributive property. Just don't think of it as anything else but distributive property. The face method, it's just another way of saying this is like an eyebrow. This is also an eyebrow. This is a nose, and this is the mouth. All right, and if you do it that way, you could basically, get the answer as well. So there's one way that's not on here, and this is just another way that you could actually use to do this. You set up a square like this, and you basically put a line down and a line across, just setting up a square like this. So I have x minus 2 that I want to multiply as one binomial to x plus 5. So what I do is just put x on top of that first square, and put minus 2 here. all right? And then I could put x on this square, like right next to this square, and you could put a plus 5 next to this one. X times x, you multiply it like, x times x, and you get x squared. X times -2, negative 2x. 5 times x, 5x. And 5 times -2, -10. So what you would just basically do is take the x squared out, then go -2x, taking out all your answers, and then you go plus the 5x plus 5x. And finally the -10. So you would get the same answer, x squared. You combine the like terms, which are directly in the middle. Sorry, I'm writing very sloppy here, just not on my board. And plus 3x. -10. I don't know if you like that way. I didn't like it. Listen, it's distributive property. X times x, right? That's what we're doing here. Then x times 5, right? If I distribute this x to this x has to be distributed to the 5. This -2, now you move over. -2 distributed to this x. -2 has to be distributed to the 5. If you do that, this is distributive property. This is the raw distributive property that we're talking about here. But this one, it works. You know what I mean? Like if you want to set it up this way and you like it, just go ahead and do that. The face method, I don't know. If you want to use whatever you want to use, you go ahead and use. So let's go to the next page and let's do some here. Okay, first I am going to do the distributive property, just straight distributive property. So when you multiply, you're going to distribute the x to the x. That's x squared. Then, don't forget, you're on this first term here, so you're going to distribute this x to the 5. And that is x times 5, which is 5x. The x, you're finished distributing the x. First and outer. 1 times x is 1x. But remember, since you distributed the 1 and the x, the inners, you have to multiply the 1. Remember, the 1 has to be distributed also to the 5. And that's 1 times 5, not 1 plus 5. That is 1 times 5 is 5. Then you combine like terms. Remember, all the terms, the like terms will be in the middle. You have x squared plus 6x plus 5. And that is your final answer for that using distributive property. Right? Okay. So let me show you the square method. I have it set up over here. So I am just going to move it over here and hopefully everything is good. Okay, I'll leave it up here. So this first term is x plus 1. So I'm going to put this x and then the plus 1. This second binomial is x and then plus 5. I kind of like this method. It's growing on me. X times x, which is your x squared. Now you just put the answers here. Everything is set up. X times 1, which is 1x. and everything's positive, so I'm not putting the plus inside. I know it's positive. X times 5 is 5x. And then 5 times 1 is 5. I'm not going to do this over again, but this is x squared plus 1x plus 5x plus 5. So we're combining the like terms. You have x squared plus 6x plus 5, which is the same answer as this. All right, we'll do number 2 together, and then you guys could go on to the next questions on your own. Remember, distributive property, x squared. And if you're using FOIL, those are the firsts. But remember, if I distribute this x to this x, I have to distribute this x to the negative 10 as well. And x times negative 10 is negative 10x. Now I'm distributing this negative 2. The x is finished. Negative 2, the inners. Negative 2 to the x, which is negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And then negative 2 times negative 10, because if you distribute the negative 2 to the x, you have to distribute the negative 2 to the negative 10, and negative 2 times negative 10 is a positive 20. When you do it this way, it always turns out where the like terms are in the middle. You have x squared minus 12x, because negative 10, now get your calculator if you need it. Negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12, and this is plus 20. And that's how you would do that. All right, so remember, x minus 2, I'm going to put right here, x minus 2. And then x minus 10. Sorry, I have to squeeze that in. X times x would be x squared. X times negative 2 would be negative 2x. Negative 10 times x is negative 10x. And negative 10 times negative 2 would be positive 20. When you combine the like terms, it's x squared minus 2x minus 10x plus 20, and that's exactly what I had here, and it's x squared minus 12x plus 20. Go ahead, do number 3. Press pause now. So my answer for number 3 is x squared, x times x, which is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. 1 times x is x. And then 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. You combine the like terms, you have x squared minus 5x, because negative 6x plus 1 is negative 5x, and then you just bring the negative 6 down. If you're using the box method like I have here, the x plus 1, I would put on the top. X minus 6. It's okay if you, whatever method you want to use. X times x is x squared. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. All right, use whatever method you want. Remember, this is x squared plus 1x minus 6x minus 6 now. Just like put it out like this, and then just combine the like terms that are directly in the middle. You will get x squared minus 5x minus 6. All right, go ahead and do number 4 and 5, and we'll come back with the answers. Press pause now. All right, number 4. whatever method you use, you're supposed to come up with x squared minus 3x plus 4x minus 12. And when you combine the like terms in the middle, you have negative 3x plus 4x, and that's x. So you have x squared plus x minus 12 is the final answer. Number 5's final answer. Remember, x times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And negative 6 times positive 6 is negative 36. So this x's in the middle, they cancel out. 6x minus 6x. Positive 6x minus 6x equals 0x. You do not put a 0x. 0 times any number is 0. So it comes out to be x squared minus 36. Please go ahead and do number 6. Press pause now. Okay. Alright, so you have x times x, which is x squared. X times 0 is 0x. You really don't need to put that down, but I did anyway. 5 times x, the inners, 5 times x is 5x. And then the lasts are 5 times 0. It's 0, which you don't even need to put down. So you have x squared plus 5x, and that's basically your answer. So this page just explains the box method. Another way to multiply binomials is to use that box method, which is similar to multiplication table in the back of marble notebooks, if you have seen them. The box method could be used to multiply any polynomials. That's why I like this method. Just example is that we've been doing x plus 5 and times 3x minus 2. Put each term, like, this doesn't look like the box, but I mean, it's the same thing. You have x plus 5, that's what I usually do. I put this x plus 5 right on the top here, and then this 3x minus 2. So you're just multiplying 3x times x, going over to here. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Then when you combine the like terms, you have the 3, you take this 3x squared out, put it here. You take this 15x out, put it here. Take this negative 2x out, put it here, and then take this negative 10 out, put it here. Combine the like terms, which are in the middle. You have 15x minus the 2x, and that's 13x. That is it. Right? So you have 3x times x. This is, by the way, 1x. 3x times 1x is 3x squared. Don't forget to add those exponents. All right? And I like that box method. You know, it's just a lot easier for me. So you could practice the box method for all of these examples. And it's just it really is just a lot easier. Go ahead. We're gonna give you, like, just give yourself a long period of time. Do 1, 2, and 3 right now and see what you could do. Press pause now. Okay, so number 1, if you're practicing using the box method, x plus 2 goes on the top, x plus 2, and then x plus 2 goes on the left side as well. X times x would be x squared, x times 2 would be 2x, 2 times x is 2x, and then 2 times 2 is 4. So then you would kind of write that down, right, like this. So you have x squared plus 2x plus another 2x, and then plus 4. So your final answer for this one would be x squared plus 4x plus 4. And that would be your final answer. For number 2, You have x minus 5 on the top, and then x minus 5 on the left. X times x would be x squared. That's how you get that answer. X times negative 5 would be negative 5x. And negative 5 times x would be negative 5x. And then negative 5 times negative 5 would be 25. When you put the terms out, you have all your answers. There's 4 answers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You line them up like this. Negative 5x, x squared, minus 5x, and then another minus 5x, and then a plus 25, positive 25. So your final answer would be x squared, and then you combine the like terms. You have negative 5x, and negative 5x is negative 10x. And then you just bring the plus 25 down. And that is your final answer. Go ahead, we'll come back with all of the answers. See if we can do all of them. Number 5 and number 6 especially a little bit more difficult. Try 3 and 4 next, and then we'll come back with those answers. Press pause now. Okay, for number 3 and 4, I have the box methods there. If you want to look at them, just take a look at them. The final answer should be x squared minus 2x minus 24 for number 3. And number 4 should be x squared plus 3x minus 70 for number 4. Just press pause on the video if you need to see, and kind of pause that video because I'm going on to number 5 and number 6. Alright, so for number 5, just remember you have that 2x to the third times 3x. That's the first thing that you're going to do with that box method, practicing that box method. But even just looking at it, 2 times 3 is 6, and then x to the third times x to the first is x to the fourth. So you should have for that first one 6x to the fourth, because that's what you're multiplying first. Alright, press pause right now, and we'll come back with the answers for number 5 and 6. Go ahead and do them. Press pause now. Okay, for number 5, you have that 2x to the third on the top, using the box method, 2x to the third plus x here, right? And then you put this 3x and this plus 2 here. You do 3x times 2x to the third, like I was mentioning, it is 6x to the fourth. 3x times x is 3x squared. 2 times 2x to the third is 4x to the third, and then 2 times x is just 2x. Line them up just like this. You see, I take them out. 6x to the fourth, 3x to the second, 4x to the third, and 2x. This is not in standard form. So I'm going to have to move, because standard form says that, remember, that the largest exponent, it should be first, and the second largest should be second. So I just move this 4x to the third in front, and I have 4x to the third plus 3x squared plus 2x. And this one right here, you can see 9 times x squared is 9x squared. 9 times 4 is 36. Negative x squared times x squared is negative x to the fourth. Right? This is 1, negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. And then x to the second times x to the second is x to the fourth. Negative x squared times 4 is negative 4x squared. And then just put that down. All right? And those are your answers. All right. So any method that you like, you just go ahead and do, pretty much any method. I'm going to do the first one with you, and I'm not going to use the box method, even though I can use the box method. The box method works. It's just that so these are challenge questions, but I'll do a couple of them with you. Again, distributive property, just it kind of like You could use the box method, but the thing is, distributive property kind of works better for this one. Um, just remember, if you take this x, right, you have to multiply this x. You have to distribute this x to this 7x to the second. And when you do that, you get 7x to the third, right? Then you have to take this x and distribute it to this negative 4, right? And then it's x times negative 4x, which is negative 4x squared. And then this x still has to be distributed to this 2. So just remember, if you're taking a first term of the binomial right here, you have to multiply it by everything in the second set of parentheses. All right, so x times 2 is just simply 2x. Right? So now I finished distributing all of I finished distributing the x, and now I'm going to move over to the 5 and distribute the 5 to the 7x squared. That is 35x squared. And now this 5 times negative 4x is negative 20x. And 5 times 2, and then you'll be finished with distributing the 5, is 10. You notice that you have a whole line up of, could be all terms, right? So I'm going to look for the largest term, which is 7x to the third. That's to the third. And then I could cross that out. Then to the second, I have a negative 4 to the second and a positive 35 to the second. So I have negative 4x. I'm sorry, yeah, negative 4x and then a 35x, which is positive 31x squared. Right? And then I have, so that's cancel. I like to cancel them out. And then this is negative 20x plus 2x. That's negative 18x. And that cancels out. And the plus 10 will come down. And that is your final answer right there. I just like that. Like, I mean, I kind of like this, like for these types of problems, I kind of like the distributive property. Just if you just have to just understand that once you start distributing this 3, you have to distribute this 3 to every term in the second set of parentheses. Like it's not finished until, remember, you have to distribute that 3 to every set of every term in that second set of parentheses. So 3 times x to the third. 3x to the third. Right? Go ahead of me because you guys are writing on paper. It's much faster than what I'm doing right here. 3 times 2x. That is 6x. And then 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. And you know that the 3 is now been distributed to every term in that second set of parentheses. Now we go move over to the negative x squared. Negative x squared times x to the third is negative times a positive, so it's negative x to the fifth. Negative x squared times positive 2x is negative 2x to the third. Remember, there's a 1 there. Negative times a negative is definitely positive, and that's negative x squared times negative 1, which is positive x squared. Now we have to combine this mess. Let me switch to blue. I have an x to the fifth, so I know that right now. I'm just going to cross it as a negative x to the fifth, and I'm going to put that first. It's the largest exponent. All right, now I'm going to look for a fourth. There's no fourth, but I do have third and a third, right? So I have 3x to the third minus 2x to the third, which is 1x to the third. And I'm just going to put x to the third. You don't need the 1. This cancels. This cancels. Then I'm going to look for squared, and I have 1 squared plus x squared. Gone. And then I'm going to look for an x, and I do have the 6x. That's plus 6x. Gone. And then a minus 3. Last, that's it. That's your final answer. All right. So these are our challenge problems, and go ahead and see if you can do the rest of them. I'll come back. We're going to press pause right now, and yeah, we'll press pause, and we'll come back with all of the answers. Press pause now. Okay, so here's 3 and 4. Thank you, Ms. Gaji, for doing these answers. So we have x squared plus x plus 10 times 2x squared minus 5x plus 2. Okay, so the first thing that you would have to do again is to distribute this x squared over to the 2x squared, right? And then you take this negative 2x, and that's, by the way, that is 2x to the fourth, and that's where she's getting this from. You have 2x, I'm sorry, x squared, and then you're distributing it to this negative 5x. That's negative 5x to the third. And then finally, you're going to take that x squared, and you're going to distribute it again to the 2, and that is plus 2x squared. Then you move over to this positive x. Right? If you move over to that positive x, you're going to distribute this x to this 2x to the second power, and then x to the negative 5x, and then x to the 2, and you're going to put all the answers. Then you move over to the 10. You do the same thing. 10 times 2x, 10 times negative 5x, 10 times 2. And then once you line everything up, you should have had 2x to the fourth, negative minus 5x to the third, minus 3x to the third, plus 17x squared, minus 14x plus 20. So for these with 3 binomials, so so you just do the first 2 first. All right, you multiply in the first 2 first. So you're doing x times x times 2. Negative 2 times x, and then negative 2 times 2, right? So you get x squared. This is x squared minus 4. And then you're going to multiply, you're going to bring this down to here. And then you're going to multiply this negative this 5x minus 9. So it's x squared times 5x, and that's 5x to the third. X squared minus 9. That's negative 9x squared. negative 4 times 5x, negative 20x, and then negative 4 times negative 9 is positive 36. So when you're distributing, just distribute in the first two sets of binomials, just like as if this was the problem without this being multiplied, without being this last one being multiplied. And you have negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. All right, and then once you have that answer, like this is everything here, and you have this negative 2x, positive 2x, that cancels out. Don't put 0x. This minus 4 comes down. All right, and then do the distributive property all over again, and then you get your final answer. All right, go ahead and do number 5 only. Do number 5, press pause now. So you just take the x squared, distribute this x squared to this negative 2x squared. That is negative 4x, negative 2x to the fourth, right? Negative x squared times negative 1, negative x squared. Then you move over to the x. X times negative 2x squared, negative 2x to the third. X times negative 1, negative x. 15 times negative 2x squared is negative 30x squared, and 15 times negative 1 is negative 15. Combine all the like terms, you should have this answer right there. So 2x plus 1 to the third power is this in expanded notation. So don't multiply, remember, just like number 4, don't try to multiply them all at once, right? So we're just doing right here, this 2x times 2x, right? And that would be 4x squared. Then you have to multiply the 2x times the 1, and that is plus 2x. And then you do 1 times 2x, and that's also 2x. And you do 1 times 1, which is 1. So now I would have 4x squared plus 4x, because 2x plus 2x equals 4x, and then plus 1. And you set it up like this, right? That's the answer to just 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. Then you just bring the other 2x plus 1 down, just like that. All right, go ahead, do the distributive property. We'll come back with the answer right after the pause. So press pause now. So there we go. We have 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. Do the distributive property. You should have 8x to the third plus 12x squared plus 6x plus 1. All right, these are Regents questions. And that you should pay attention to Regents questions, because these are the types of questions that you should be able to answer. These are the questions that they ask. So just taking the one of them with you. So this expression right here, you just distribute this first. You have to distribute, right? Because again, you have a negative 2 times this whole thing right here inside parentheses. So you definitely have to distribute that. All right, but there's another problem right here, right? So we're just going to have to do this first, taking this 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. All right, so just do that first and distribute. These are the types of problems that you should expect to see. This 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1, and then get the answer to that. Distribute that first, press pause now, and we'll come back with the answer for this one. Okay, so like I said, you have 2x, you have the 2x plus 1 times the 2x plus 1, and you have minus 4x squared plus 2x. And where you get that is that you're distributing this negative 2x also and putting it up here. So you have the 2x plus 1 times the 2x plus 1. That comes out to be 4x plus 2x. Let me just... So this is 4x squared. Press pause now. So this is what I was trying to do before. Wasn't working out. This 2x squared, I'm sorry, this 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1, that it comes out to be, I have to do 2x times 2x is 4x squared, 2x times 1 is 2x, 1 times 2x is 2x, and then 1 times 1 is 1. All right, so that's the answer to that. And then this negative 2 times negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x squared. Negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2, not 2x. All right. Then you could just combine like terms like you normally do. I'm looking for, yeah, the highest exponent. So I have the highest exponent right there, and they cancel out. That's out. And then I have a positive 2x and a positive 2x. And that's all I have. I have 4x. And I'm going to cancel those out. And then there's a 1 and a 2. That's plus 3. And that's 1. And that's how you would do that. Go ahead and try this one right here. See if you can do it. We're going to press pause now. Okay, so we have negative 3x times x is negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times negative 4 is positive 12x. Then you move over here, negative 2x times x is negative 2x squared, and then negative 2x times positive 3 is negative 6x. So we have negative 3x squared and negative 2x squared is negative 5x squared. So right there, just by doing the first terms, you could cross out 1 and 2, and you could cross, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, that's very good. And then, so this is now 12x and 6x, that's plus 6x. All right, and 4 is your answer. Okay, remember the one right down here. Anything inside the parentheses has to be repeated. So if they want you to do an x minus 6 squared, you have to set it up just like this. Okay? And then go ahead and distribute, and you get the answer. That's a pretty easy one. This is the same type of problem, but just remember, anything inside the parentheses squared has to be repeated exactly like it is twice. And you set it up like this, and you multiply. Go ahead and see if you could multiply them and get the right answer. We'll press pause now. Okay, for this one over here, you just multiply it out, you get number 3, and that's basically it. Just don't get confused. Negative 6x minus 6x is negative 12x, so that's it. All right, so for this one, again, you just go ahead and distribute, but just remember I told you a squared plus b squared times a squared plus b squared is a squared plus b squared squared. All right, so then you're just going to do a squared times a squared, that's a to the 4th. Let me change the color on this. All right, distribute, that did not work out. That's a to the 4th. Then a squared times b squared is, and this is all positive numbers, so at least they did that. And b squared times a squared is again, and I'm just going to put that in the same because you could put that in the same, with a squared first and then the b squared second. It doesn't matter if you have b squared times a squared or a squared times b squared. Multiplication is commutative, so it does not matter. And then you have b squared times b squared again, and that is b to the 4th. So you have a to the 4th. So first off, you have to have a to the 4th, and all of them are a to the 4th, plus a squared b squared. There's 2 of them, so 2a squared b squared. There's 2a squared b squareds. Obviously 3 is going to be your answer, and then you have plus b to the 4th, and that is your final answer. Right? Sorry, I'm getting a little crazy there. Okay. Try to see if you could do this. Remember, the key word here is rectangular. This is basically a rectangle, and you could draw that rectangle. The width is represented. I'm sorry. The length is represented by 2x to the 2x minus 6, and the width is represented by the 3x minus 5. They want the total area, so just think about what you have to do to find area of a rectangle. Press pause now. So I set up a little rectangle here, and I drew the rectangle, and I put the length in as 2x minus 6 and the width in as 3x minus 5. Since I know that the total area equals length times width, they just want you to set up again, another binomial times binomial, and you're going to distribute just like you normally would to figure out this answer on the regents. And go ahead and do that. Press pause now. Okay, so that's basically it. So you have 6x squared minus 28x plus 30. Number 2 is your answer, and choice 2 is your answer. And here's your exit slip. Go ahead and see if you can do this. Press pause now. So setting them up, this is very, very easy. You could use the box method if you want. You could use the distributive property. I like to use the distributive property pretty much all the time. X times x is x squared. X times negative 9 is negative 9x. 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. So you combine the like terms in the middle, and you just bring the x squared down. Negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5x, and you just bring down the minus 36, and you are finished. And B is your answer. You should have had B as your answer. That was a tremendously long lesson. Hopefully you got something out of it. Just follow along, try to um, use a method that you feel comfortable with. All right, and that's about it. That was Unit 8, Lesson 2, multiplying polynomials.